Well, it's September the 19th. I'm in a new area. Spot I got pictures of a big deer back in August. It's a little staging area. Thicket back there. Beans out over here. Corn's over here. And about 2 acres of these pretty open woods with grass in it. And what I found over the years is these deer in the mornings come back in here and lay down in this grassy area for a few hours and chew their cud. Then they go back into this log section that's super thick. The only problem is sometimes they don't ever get up from here. Such is the case today. There was one big-bodied buck bedded over here to my right when I'm not coming in. The landowner was bush hogging. He bush hogged right up to the edge here, and I kind of followed him in. And I was hoping that noise would kind of bump him out and let me be able to get in here, so it may have bumped more out. But I did see one when I got here. There was one laying over there. He looked back. I was standing in the edge over about 100 yards. I froze, and he just slowly walked off down in the thick stuff. So I'm sitting here in my saddle. Got my XC on. We're gonna see. I don't. This is the first time I've had the right wind to come in here on the afternoon set. I hate that deer was laying here. I was really hoping they'd all be back there, but never blew, never run, never stomped. It just eased off. So I'm gonna sit here till dark and see what happens. I'm really close to something. I just heard it cough in its bed. Well, I may have messed up. The blind that my boy just killed his first buck on. It's right in my backyard. Of course, it's on a feeder, and I don't hunt it. But my wife does. She just sent me a text and we messed up. The big one is standing at the feeder right now with its old messed up rack one and about a 130 11 point. It's just 440. It's early. She's like 8 yards standing in front of the blind right now. I could kill him easy. So, looks like due to COVID in my workplace, I might take it unpaid, but I might burn my last week's vacation this week. Either way, I ain't working. So hopefully one night this week she can get off work in time. Slip down there in the blind. She's been recording her own stuff on her own channel. She started her own channel about a month ago. I gave her my old camera when I upgraded. It's not a hunting channel or nothing, just family channel. And might have to put her out in that blind by herself while I watch the kids and let her shoot one and record it. Then she'll get to see the struggles of self-filming, but might just let her shoot it and not worry about recording it. I might let my parents watch the kids one night this week so we can get out there. It just depends on if she can get off work early. Because right now, 4:40 would be, she'd be hard pressed to get home and get in the blind by then. So anyway, she sent me a text. She said, "Oh man, kill me a buck this evening. This is another spot." It's mostly her spot. I have shot a buck. That first buck ever, first on the channel, she shot and missed a buck. Another one come in, and she was too rattled to shoot, so I shot it. But this is a spot I normally reserve for her, but she hasn't been able to go yet this year. And I know that by trail cam pictures, I pulled the car on camera, it's somewhere. This little tree right here behind me. Got some trails going back in here. And morning and night I've got deer coming down these trails. I got bucks. I've also got bucks morning and evening traveling this way. And the day before I pulled that, there was a nice, and when I say nice, I mean nice deer. Several decent deer, but one nice deer. So I'm not one to really shoot one in September because I hate my buck to be over with. That's bugging me. But if that big one strolls through here or anything that makes me happy this evening, I'm going to stick him because Tennessee starts next weekend. And I can kill 2 bucks in Tennessee. So just because I shoot one in Kentucky don't mean I'm done buck hunting. That just means I'm done buck hunting in Kentucky too. So we're fixing to head to the volunteer state in the near future for some hunting. But I'm going to get quiet. The wind's laying down now, so I'm going to be extra quiet. I'm within hearing distance of a deer that's coughed in his bed twice now. I know that's what it is. It's too big to be anything other than a deer. I'm assuming it's a deer. Doe, buck, I don't know. But I generally don't shoot does on Saturday evening. I like to shoot them in the mornings. But that thing's itching. So I make no guarantees. Listen here, I can cover all the trails. The only problem is if they come right behind the tree, my wind is blowing right at the tree, which is the way I walked in. But I could possibly have deer bedded in that corn, step off into this thicket and come by right here, because that's what they appeared to be doing, was coming out of these beams, going up that way, and then branching off and going up here into this corn and bedding on the edge of this thicket right in the corn. There's a lot of tracks up there, so they are still going to that end. I just hope when a landowner, when I follow that bush hog in, anything sitting on that edge, he bush hog that edge. I hope it bumped the deer back into the thick stuff. And this evening as they make their way back out, they stroll by here at about 25 yards. Hopefully that big one. But there was one that he had drove up into the corn, it appeared, because as I was walking in, he was leaving, he was starting to get distant. You can still hear him. This thing's a wet spot full of water maples. And I don't know if you know about water maples, but they shed limbs like a long-haired cat. I mean, they drop them all the time, and it's almost impossible. You have to just creep through here to not step on a twig. And I did that. That deer seen me, I believe, but he didn't know what I was way over there. He just stood up, trotted a few steps, looked back, and then put his head down and walked on off back in the thick stuff. Could be the one I'm hearing. He probably didn't go far and lay back down. So I don't think I'd have shot that buck. He was a bigger body, but I don't think he had much rack. But anyway, there was another call. I'm gonna shut up and get off here because I got deer too close to talk. Well, they ran off. That worked exactly like I planned. The tree he was standing behind. It's exactly 20 yards. His head, when he turned, I could have shot him. The only problem was, I had this small buck, which was the first one. He was a decent buck. I've shot that buck many times. And I have to admit, when he come out, I was thinking, hey, if he gives me good footage, he might get it. But I kept hearing another one. And I could have shot him at 15 yards. But I couldn't see the antlers on this other one. And then he stuck his head out, and I could tell, yeah, that's the one I want to shoot. He was coming right at the tree. He was going to walk right here. He's going to come right up in here for those beans. The small buck come right around here. Had I been 10 yards further that way to get my wind, just then it started turning cold. Thermals was dropping. That buck was standing right there, downwind. And he got nervous and he didn't blow, but he stomped off and run back there about 30 yards. And it got that buck, he just froze up right there. Man, I'm here to tell you, filming is hard when you're nervous. When you got a buck like that, when you're trying to sell film. But man, what a rush. I'm shaking right now as bad as if worse than any deer I've ever shot. That would have been my biggest. But that's the reason why I bought a camera and started self-filming. To share those experiences of those close calls. And this right here, if I could show you my left leg's shaking so bad right now, I can't hardly stand on this little platform. Probably no hopes of him coming back anytime soon. I could hear him bound on off, cut through the thick stuff, and they're going to make a circle and come out in that bean field probably. But man, my plan worked. They didn't see me. Man, I was hooked to the release. I could have drew back and shot at one point, but right before that and busted me. I was just starting to put tension on the string. But I didn't want to do it and not get it on camera, and I couldn't tell up that little tree. When you're looking at those little viewfinders, it's hard to tell what you got. I knew he was in the screen. I backed it up so it should be in focus. But I wanted the shot. So, man, that's sickening, exciting. I rode into one. I don't know how much longer I'll sit here. I'll probably get on down. Chance of me seeing nothing that big. Slim to none today, probably. That was the buck I had a picture of, just a blurry. He just jumped right from the camera. He was moving, then I got some further distance shots of him. I could tell he's a giant. That's the first time I laid eyes on him. I sure pray it ain't the last. We'll just have to, we'll be back in here for sure.